Southsun Cove is the smallest open world map introduced to Guild Wars 2, but is also the first ever open world map added to the game following the initial launch of Guild Wars 2, playing an important part during the original Living World Season 1, and unfortunately less of an important part in the modern day re-implementation of that season. As I recently explored through this area in my Let's Play series, I wanted to take a bit of time to go across the map and highlight my favorite things. Since the map is definitely very small, and as a way to spice up this series a little bit, let's only look at my top 5 favorite things across Southsun Cove. So let's get started. In the number 5 spot is Pearl Islet. Now if I was making this a top 10 list, I would probably spend most of my time in this area just focusing on a bunch of different things. This is the opening area of the map where all new players coming to this map for the first time via Lion's Arch ends up at. It's a pretty nice little settlement that just has a bunch of different decorations, individuals, and other things around here. I particularly like the beach area as it fits into the vibes of Southsun Cove a lot. You got a changing area that allows you to hop into your swimsuit, and then you can walk all around this area and basically just enjoy an oceanside resort. There's a cool looking bar and a bunch of very cool looking umbrellas at each of the tables around here that I love a lot. Back up top towards the waypoint is also the under new management jumping puzzle, which is a lot of fun. It's a pretty basic and short puzzle that is great for new players. In the number 4 spot is the Roller Beetle Time Trial Shoreside Sprint. This is actually a pretty new addition to Southsun Cove, and that is definitely a large part about why I love it. I'm always a little 50-50 on whether or not I like big sweeping changes to maps. On one hand, it is cool to be experiencing a living world. On another hand, experiencing things like the Mordrum or Aetherblades in Quartier maps when neither of those are supposed to exist yet to players always just feels a little weird. When new stuff is added, it's like a single map exists in multiple time periods at the same time, but that new content is often pretty cool and it is nice to see old maps revitalized. Anyways, the addition of a Roller Beetle Time Trial, to me at least, is a perfect middle ground. It's not too spoilery and it doesn't dramatically alter a map in a large way like the Tower of Nightmares, but it is still a pretty big piece of content that adds a lot to the map as a whole. This time trial takes you throughout a good chunk of Southsun Cove and mechanically is a pretty fun time trial. I would say it's about in the middle of the pack for difficulty when comparing it to all the other time trials in the game, but Southsun Cove is a very beautiful map and you can take in a lot of those great sights as you roll through the map. In the number 3 spot is Lion Point. This is another settlement on Southsun Cove, and there are actually a bunch of settlements. We see Pearl Islet that I talked about earlier, but then you got the 4 settlements that are part of the meta event in this map, and all of those need to be controlled to spawn the Karka Queen world boss. Then you have another couple of settlements not connected to any of that serve as a small little safe place in the map. Lion Point is really cool looking and has a couple of services that let you vendor off some items and reinforce your armor. It's actually one of 3 spots in the map that are specifically safe settlements, the others being Pearl Islet and Owain's Refuge, and the 3 actually make a triangle in the map. I love the tents and barrels and crates and stuff. I love the huts you can see around here, especially the ones up on the cliffside. I love the big Lion Guard ship that is docked here, and it's just an altogether really cool little area. In the number 2 spot are the Coconuts. Heading over to the 3rd safe settlement of Owain's Refuge, you can find a lot of these little guys just hanging out around the camp. Design-wise, they are kind of a similar concept to a scarecrow, where you got a stake in the ground with a coconut speared in on the top that has a little face carved into it and a piece of linen draped under it like clothing. This is just a super funny thing, and I would guess based on this and what I am about to talk about, it may be a reference to Castaway. Owain is the Savari wandering around this area, and is why this place is called Owain's Refuge. She's a nice Savari who has an occasional event to bring her some of the nearby Karka eggs so she can make omelets. But there is something more going on here where you can ask her about these coconut dummies and she'll act confused and say she is surrounded by all of her friends, individuals from an expedition that she apparently was a part of, where there was a prospector, a cartographer, a captain, and apparently many other people. She doesn't like to talk about this and changes the subject, so potentially this poor Savari was shipwrecked on this island along with the rest of her expedition, but is now unfortunately the only surviving member. But now for the number 1 spot for my favorite thing in all of Southsun Cove, and has got to go to the Skipping Stones jumping puzzle. I love this jumping puzzle a lot, but I didn't always like it. When it first released and I played through it, I didn't have a great time, and I think part of that is because I used to play on a very old laptop that could barely run the game and couldn't even load certain zones. But a long time ago now, and into the modern day, I have a newfound appreciation for this jumping puzzle because it is really fun and incredibly beautiful. It is located in the northern part of the map, nearby the Lion Point settlement we talked about earlier. The bulk of the puzzle has you, as the name suggests, skipping along these stones that occasionally get launched into the air by the geysers. This is a combination of patience, testing, and speed, where you have to go across each section of the geysers before the stones collapse back down. There are also a few sections, especially at the end, with some other types of jumps. Ultimately, this is a pretty short puzzle that doesn't take too much time to complete, but is definitely on the challenging end of jumping puzzles, and historically, newer players or players who aren't jumping inclined definitely struggle with completing this puzzle. But I personally like it a lot, and it is fun to get to the end. Not only because you have successfully completed the puzzle, but because the end is very pretty with the ship, and how you can access an exclusive area with a bunch of Reef Riders, an event to kill a powerful Reef Rider, and an extra bonus chest for you to unlock. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. While Southsun Cove is pretty small, there's definitely a lot to talk about in this map, and I would love to hear what you all have to say about this location down in the comments. It definitely holds a special place in my heart, as it is the first map added to the game after the initial launch of Guild Wars 2. I hope you all are taking great care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.